Hey there everybody, this is going to be just a quick follow-up video to a couple of features on the Urban Drift Gobi S that I wanted to go into a little more detail with. Had a question on my prior video, so I'm going to hopefully answer that, and also a pretty cool modification that I did on the scooter since I last did my review on this scooter. First thing that I overlooked on the other review is this scooter actually is equipped and comes with 2 key fobs. And what's kind of cool about this is it's kind of an added security measure for the scooter for locking, unlocking, and it has a small alarm that is built into the back of the headlight. That's your horn, but also doubles as your alarm. So let me demonstrate real quick how this works. So if you want to park your scooter and want to lock it so it won't turn on, you just hit the lock. You heard the chirp. Now if somebody were to come up and try to mess with your scooter as I'm touching it, it gives a warning chirp. And if they keep messing with it, you can see it sets off an alarm. And it's certainly loud enough that if anybody's walking by or seeing it, it will get their attention, and hopefully the person will stop messing with your scooter. Also, when the scooter is locked, it will not be able to be powered on. Obviously somebody can walk off with it, but it won't be able to be powered on. And the way you use it is you hit the unlock button and then you hit this little lightning bolt twice. And once you do that, you can then power on and use your scooter. One of the features I like about this is if you don't want to use this for day-to-day, you're just keeping it in your garage, you don't have to, every time you use a scooter, unlock it and hit the lightning bolt. It's only after you hit the locking mechanism that you have to hit the lightning bolt and unlock to be able to use it again. So nice little feature. 2 of these fobs are included with the scooter, so it's kind of a nice little added security bonus with the scooter. Okay. The other thing I got a question on that I wanted to cover real quick is how to fold the stem. So what you've got is you've got 3 tension bolts here with the stem. So when you get the scooter out of the box, you know, it's going to come folded, but it's pretty simple reverse kind of procedure. What happens is you start by unfolding these tension bolts, and they should be fairly tight. That way, you know, your stem is kind of held in there and not as loose. So once you've loosened these up, what it does is it kind of lets the this metal clamp, if you will, kind of loosen up enough to where you can push it up. You may have to jiggle the stem just a little bit to get it to work, but you can see there's a bit of a track that it goes in there. But once you get that up, excuse me just a second, once you get that up, you just move the stem up high enough to where you can fold the entire stem down. So once the stem is folded, some of the paint chips off of here, but that's just cosmetic. Once you get the stem folded, you know, you lift this clamp up here and it's kind of loose. Stem's folded, you're good to go. One of the things that I mentioned in my other video that I added so you can pick this thing up from the stem is I have a little clip here, plastic clip with a couple zip ties. What happens is you can just kind of connect it to this bottom rung. It goes on there. Now I can actually pick the entire scooter up from the stem, which for a scooter of this weight is a huge advantage, because trying to carry it from underneath the base and both sides, it's just awkward, and the stem, you know, flops around. So this is a much better, as you can see, way to kind of be able to do this with the stem locked down. But to be clear, I had to get a couple zip ties in this clip to be able to make that work, and I just clip it through the red part of the handlebar. There's no space for the zip ties. So that's how that works. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this thing back up. I'm going to show you probably the most important mod that I've done to the scooter since having it. But first I'll show you the reverse of this. In order to put your stem back up, you need to rotate this metal clamp back to where it will slide down. And once it's slid down on here, you can see the stem holds itself up. And then the same reverse order, you just kind of clamp these one at a time. If you need to tighten them, you tighten the little nuts over here on the side. But when you have it tight, it should be a fairly tough push. You know, you should be able to do it with one hand, but you want to have it fairly tight, and you want to make sure all three of these are fully seated before you ride. So once it's fully together, you can see it's pretty sturdy and it works pretty well. Now on to probably my best improvement to the scooter. We're going to power it on. I'm going to show you exactly what I did. So I contracted the Urban Drift team, and my number one gripe with the scooter was that they didn't include a brake light. There's a headlight on the bottom, there's 2 deck lights in the front, and 2 safety lights in the rear, and I'll turn these on so you can see them. These lights down here, when they're on, they do not work as brake indicators. They just stay solid all the time. They're very bright, so you can be seen at night. But my gripe is whether it was daytime or nighttime, if you stop and somebody's riding behind you, there's really no indication to the people behind you that you're stopping. So what I did was I opened this deck. You can just peel off this rubber deck, and there's double-sided stick tape on there. You can reuse it. There's about 12 screws total along the outside of the deck, and you can pull it up, and your battery, your controllers, and all your wiring is inside of there. The Urban Drift team has been great to work with. They've been very responsive. They sent me a copy of their wiring diagram, and I was basically able to figure out, I got a $12 brake light on Amazon, and some extended wire and some heat shrink tubing. And what I did, a buddy of mine, is we were able to figure out using the wiring diagram and a multimeter basically which ones were the brake light indicators. So we were able to rig up just a simple brake light, use some very high yield bond tape to stick that so it almost looks like it came that way. And now ran it through the back of the deck into here, sealed it back up. And now, whether I have the lights on or not, I have a brake light. All I have to do is squeeze either handle, and the brake light works. So literally, this was about 2 or 3 hours of time and about $20 in supplies, and now my scooter has a brake light, and I feel like this is a complete scooter. The Urban Drift team, I've reported to them, you know, and they've been very responsive. I do believe that they make their controllers in-house, and they are going to hopefully update this scooter to include brake lights, whether they're the ones in the deck that flash or add a light like I did on the back in future with the scooter. But regardless, I think for the $999 price tag, this is still an extremely good scooter for the battery size, the suspension, the quality of the components, the motor, the power, the range, everything for $999. And then the big one is, you know, having hydraulic disc brakes here, oil brakes. These are usually much more expensive scooters. That'll cost you almost double what the cost of this scooter is to get something with brakes of that caliber. So that's it. If anybody has any questions, please post them in the comments. And if you like the video, please give me a thumbs up. Thank you.